All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to But First Football. This is our podcast, and we are missing our football phenom, Vaugh Parker. We miss you, Vaugh. We will catch up with you soon. And I am Kim Biehl, the self-proclaimed First Lady of Football Fandom and Fashion. And we had a big fashion night last night, so you will be seeing lots of content about that. But most excitedly today, I'm sitting here with my nephew, Dylan Biehl. And we really wanted to talk to him about his current experience with recruiting. He is a junior in high school and has been heavily recruited for the past couple of years now.
Yeah, a couple months, couple of years. I started racking up offers as early as October of 2023.
So we wanted to learn a little bit more about that process and compare it to what Vaugh went through when he was being recruited, which was very, very different.
Yep.
So first of all, why don't you tell us about your position and your team?
So I currently play offensive tackle for the Lambert Longhorns in Sewanee, Georgia. Lambert is a top 50 team in the state of Georgia, which means we're very competitive. We play at the highest classification in Georgia, which is called 6A. Basically, it means we're one of the biggest schools in the state, and we play against nationally ranked teams. We play against some of the best teams in the country, and I play offensive tackle for that team. I play left tackle, and then in college, the good thing about my size is I have position versatility, so I might change positions to be offensive guard or a center, or maybe stay at offensive tackle. And so far this season we're 3-2. Last year we were 8-3. The year before we were 10-2. So we've been pretty successful over the last 3 years since I've been in the program. So
Dylan, do you think that your versatility is what makes you so interesting to these college programs?
Yeah, I think that, and then I like my intelligence, right? I think being intelligent and being athletic is going to help me when I get into college, just because I'm able to learn things on the fly and not be locked in just one spot. And being able to play multiple positions, I think, definitely going to help me.
Do you agree with Vaughn's assessment that the O-line are the smartest players in the room?
100. I mean, between them and quarterbacks, but I mean, yeah, O-line definitely gotta, because people don't realize, like they're always like linemen got it easy or whatever, but you have to look about like what type of defensive front's in front of you, what type of technique they're playing against you. You got to go against guys who are running 4.40s and guys who are 300, 400 pounds. So it's like, you always got to be thinking on the fly. You always have to be able to adapt your situation. And I think that's why offensive linemen are generally the smartest players in the field.
Yeah. Well, I know that Vaugh would very much agree with you, and I would as well. So when the first recruiting call or letter came in, when was that, and who is it from, and how did you feel?
So recruiting's tough because you start getting on people's radars as early as like your freshman, 8th grade year almost for some people. Now they can't legally contact you until June 15th of your going into your junior season, which is strange because some guys have offers by the time they're freshmen, but they can't actually talk to them officially. So it's pretty strange. I started going to college camps when I was at the end of my 9th grade season, just trying to get myself out there. I went to a couple camps, went to UCLA, USC, Auburn, Kansas State, just kind of, get myself out there to the schools that wanted to see me early. Then by the time the next season rolled around, I started sending my film out to a lot of coaches. Now that I had like legit varsity film, I started sending it to anybody. I started sending it to anybody who would watch. Doesn't matter what school or what level. And then we kind of saw which schools were thumbs upping and Harding, whatever, was kind of gauging early interests. And so I got my first scholarship offer in October of 2023. That was after our homecoming game. We won 40-3, so it was a pretty cool experience because they came by the school and they told coach that they were going to offer me a scholarship, and that was a pretty cool first offer. Just the timing of it.
Where was it from?
Indiana University, University of Indiana. And it was pretty cool, just kind of being a Big Ten school, being your first offers. A lot of guys start off maybe smaller and work up. But for me, it was pretty cool getting that first one from a big-time school like Indiana.
Let me just add a little funny aside there. Indiana U, my grandfather played the piccolo in the marching band.
Yeah, so...
so we had a piccolo player
and a football
and an
player.
offensive lineman.
Yeah. a little bit different, but a lot of the same. And then one of my recruiting kind of fizzled out because a lot, at that time. But then it really revamped up again at January when their seasons were over. I got 3 offers in 3 days. It started picking up again. But actually, I'm going to the USF Miami game today. Both those schools those were my second and third offers. So, and that was in January. And then January was a big period. And then I think I had 6 by the end of January. And then as I moved into the spring ball time, I would go to places and pick up offers. All the times I would go to their practice or their spring game or whatever. And then so far this season, I've gotten 2 offers from my season film so far.
So I think probably one of the coolest things about this experience has been for my brother, Zach, who was a high school football player, coach, college coach, but you guys have really been able to hit the road and have like some great father-son time and visited how many schools? I mean, it's crazy. And eaten a lot of Arby's.
Yep.
and all the various local cuisines, but really a special family kind of situation for you that not all recruited players get to experience the way you all have. But what has been your favorite moment for you and your dad on the recruiting road?
That's probably tough because I mean we've had so many like amazing times. I think for me it's like we don't always see each other so much during the week, but we get to see each other on whenever we're traveling together, and we both are beasts on the road. We don't have to stop too much. We kind of chug it along, make good time. That's kind of how we are. And I think randomly like one of my favorite memories that sticks out to me was super weird memory, and it was, I don't know why, it was just awesome. Like we went to the University of Alabama, then we're driving to the University of Florida the next day, and we stopped at what was it?
That biscuit place?
No, the burger. What's one of the burger spots? One in Texas. I'm blanking.
Whataburger?
Yeah, Whataburger. We stopped at Whataburger.
I'm a vegetarian, just FYI, and I know that.
Yeah, we stopped at Whataburger at like midnight, and for some reason that memory always stuck out at me. It was just being fun. I don't know why. It was just kind of like random, but I think all the times we just get that extra time together is pretty awesome. And we've been to so many places. We during spring football, especially, we try to get everywhere and just see everywhere we could that would have us. A lot of times, generally in the southeast, since it's easy to drive to. But it was pretty fascinating just getting to see like all the places that in the different parts of the country. You see different towns, different cities. How different people react to football or react to the school, and it's been really fascinating. So
I know that a lot of people are really interested in the whole name, image, and likeness scenario that is very much, a big part of college football now and trickling into high school. Is that something that they talk with you about when you are being recruited by these schools, or what kind of knowledge and info do you get about that?
For me, it's not one of my biggest priorities. I know a lot of people are in positions where they really need NIL for their family. And I can respect that. I'm in a position I don't necessarily need it. A lot of times what schools will talk about is how they like to educate their players about what they do with their NIL. A lot of schools have initiatives set up with people like financial advisors to help their players become financially literate, being able to organize their money, learning how to invest their money, learning how to buy houses, learning how to file tax reports, like all skills that you need to learn with your money long term. I think that's a good thing about NIL. Is a lot of schools are really doing the right things with it, and they're at least a lot of the schools that are recruiting me, they're really focusing on having their players maximizing their NIL past college or past high school. I know it's trickling down to high school. I think I don't necessarily know how I feel about that in high school. It's not super prevalent where I'm at, but I know there's people who are guys who are investing in kids when they're in high school, taking them on these visits, and then they expect NIL in return when they're in the college. So I think it's kind of an interesting and kind of slimy business, but I'll be interested to see how those guys pan out.
So does the recruiting thing ever feel like too much? I remember my brother sending a photo of this pile of letters that you
mail,
got from every single coach at the U, and then the same thing from Virginia Tech, and I'm sure many other schools. Does it ever like feel like, oh my God?
I mean, I think for certain people it definitely can get overwhelming. I think I always had to check my phone, which I'm not. It kind of sucks. I have to always check my messages and stuff and see what's going on. But I feel like it's if you have the right head in your shoulders and just take everything like appreciatively, it's never gets too big, because you realize that people care about you. They want to see you succeed in high school, and they always are wishing you good luck. And as long as you treat people with respect, you're going to keep getting respect. And so for me, it's never too big. A lot of things in my life aren't too big. I think if you put pressure, a lot of pressure comes from yourself and your own brain. So if you put pressure, or let everything get too big on you, that's when you're going to start mentally falling off of your being in a good spot.
So what's the best thing about being recruited by all these schools?
I think the best thing is the opportunity to get a free education. I think that's something that you can't put a price on. We talk about NIL making money, but you're guaranteed. Most schools or tuition is like $80,000. So you're basically getting through. They're basically paying you $320,000 minus any sort of nil, right? You're already getting so much. I mean, so many people go into student loan debt, and they sometimes they don't know what they want to study. They just go to college and they kind of just party and kind of almost waste their time. They waste their money, waste their time. But when you get to play college football, you get all the NIL stuff where you become financially literate, and you understand your money, you understand how to buy a house, and you just get a head start in life. And I think that's such an advantage, that you can really do good in the world because you're getting a head start. You're not falling behind, and you know what you want to do, and you have a goal, and you set goals to become a better person.
What is your least favorite part about the recruiting process?
My least favorite part about the recruiting process is probably just all the BS, because I think sometimes you got to sort out who's being genuine, who's not being genuine. And I think there's a lot of college coaches who are super genuine. Some, kind of just don't are you gonna really try to recruit me as a person, or are you just kind of gonna be throw me to the side? It's so for me, it's kind of sometimes you go to certain schools, you don't get the best treatment. They're kind of just throwing you oh, you're just another guy, and it's so some schools are treating me really well. You know what I mean? So it's I think sometimes it's just kind of being a little let down or frustrated with certain schools that you think are going to maybe treat you better or be more proactive in your recruiting. I think that's probably it's just sometimes being a little frustrated, but at the same time, you got to know where you're valued. And I think that's the good thing with the recruiting process. You start seeing certain places that have you higher on their board than other places. So that's probably the most frustrating or annoying part.
And when do you have to make a decision?
You don't have to make a decision until the end of your senior year. I want to get done earlier. I want to enjoy my senior football season with my friends. So I'm going to try to make a decision by, whenever my heart tells me. It could be the end of this year, by the end of 2024. It could be, next summer. I don't know. I don't think it'll be then. I don't want to waste people's time and money. So I'm going to try to make a decision that feels right to me. And also, offers are first come, first serve. People don't realize that in college football. A lot of times I think these offers just float out in the abyss, but they'll go away. If a school takes 5 offensive linemen, they're not going to take another one. It's kind of have okay, we're going to take this out of all the guys we offered, we're only going to take this many. So I think you kind of got to be ready to jump on it when your heart tells you or your brain tells you it's time to go. So. And
who's your favorite aunt? No, I'm kidding. You don't know. That's bad. Don't answer. Okay. Is there anything else you think people need to know about this process?
I think people need to realize that there's a lot more than it seems. And when you see certain guys making decisions, don't maybe judge them for one thing or the other. It's so many factors come into someone's decision, and you got to always respect that. Even though it might frustrate you or whatnot, oh, why isn't this guy coming to our school? It's well, there's so much that goes on, and it comes down to their family and what they want to study and all this other stuff. So yeah, I think you just got to realize that there's so much that goes into it. It's not just guys being selfish or wanting money. It comes down to what they need and what their family needs. So I think it's just a very interesting process. And not everybody gets to experience it. Like I know a lot of people would kill to be on the sideline before a big time college football game or go to practice. Like people who die to see that behind the scenes stuff. So I think that's just the cool part about recruiting is you get to see things that a lot of people would really want to see. So yeah, that's probably the coolest part I can think of.
Yeah, and thanks for including me on it. That side or
yeah, she got to come to spring practice at USF, so that was
very fun.
It was pretty cool to have her around. And
I felt very special.
Yeah,
I have a lanyard.
Yeah, she got a special lanyard, and I've fortunately been able to give some other people. I know my sister's gotten a few. My dad's gotten a whole lot of lanyards. We have a whole Christmas tree full of them. And I have a lot of lanyards. I can't even keep track of how many lanyards I have, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's kind of a cool little gift you get from each place. You get a little lanyard. In some places you get a little more than others.
Well, it's a really exciting time for you, and I couldn't be more proud. I think you handle it beautifully, and it'll be exciting for people to watch and see.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for chatting with me on But First Football, everyone. Thank you for
everybody
tuning
subscribe. Yeah, subscribe, tune in, and keep listening. Let's go.
All right. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.
Hey, Dylan, how you doing?
What's going on? How's it going, Mr. Parker?
Doing very well. You can just call me Vaughn.
I got you. I just figured I'd be respectful.
We can barely see you.
How was the game?
I see you're there.
Yeah, I know, right?
We left at halftime.
What was the score?
It's okay. It was 22-15 at halftime. Now it's 29, but it was not a very good experience.
Oh, was that right?
Yeah, so USF was the recruiting staff was pretty poor. They like didn't know what section the recruits were supposed to sit in, so like we had to keep moving seats.
Okay.
They were like not friendly. Like I would say thank you, and they wouldn't say anything back.
Really?
It was a weird experience. They were kind of almost hostile. So
now you've been to USF already, haven't you?
Yeah, I went to spring practice, and that was a little different because you kind of you're with the coaches more, and I think the coaches are good people.
Right.
I've always enjoyed talking to their coaches. They have a 26-year-old offensive line coach named Tyler Nick, and he's very impressive for being that young. Coaching O-line is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And then their assistant's a really good guy too. He played at UGA. So I personally like them a lot, but it was interesting.
The support staff wasn't great.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I was at Virginia last weekend, and Virginia was a completely different story. Like it was amazing treatment. Like I got to probably meet with the head coach and like all of that. Like the recruiting staff was extremely nice. Everyone knew my name. That they showed me around everything and all that. So it was just kind of interesting to see the difference a week makes. So.
Okay, well, I hate to hear that, but but that's part of the process, right? You
100%,
you get a feel for what you like, what you don't like, and but this is only your junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you've got way more to come.
100%, yeah, 100%.
Have you even started kind of whittling things down at all, or are you just open to everything right now?
I'm starting to get to a point where I'm starting to narrow down the top academic choices. So for me, my cutoff's like in the top, I would say 75 in the country, like academic schools.
Right.
I'm just trying to get it narrowed down to schools that I would actually want to go to, like good education. So that's probably, and I would say like some schools I'm like, there's no way I would go there. Even some of my scholarship offers, I'm like, there's not good enough academic schools.
Right.
Or they're in an area I wouldn't want to live in.
Right.
Because if football were to be over, right, you want to be in a spot you could live in.
Yeah.
You went to UCLA, so if you lived in Westwood and football was over, you'd be pretty happy. So, but if you're living in like somewhere like West Virginia, you're not, it's not going to be a place I want to live long term.
Right. So. I agreed. How's your season going?
So far we're 3-2. We opened up with 2 top 100 nationally ranked teams. We played them
I played the first team. They're a better team. They're called Mill Creek High School.
I've heard
They
that.
are, yeah, they won the state championship 2022 at the top classification in Georgia. So they're a very competitive team.
Okay.
It turned out lots of D1 guys, and like recently they have a defensive back who plays at Ohio State named Caleb Downs. He was like a 5-star, played at Alabama for Saban,
Okay.
and he transferred to Ohio State. So I mean, they've turned out a lot of dudes. Like this year, they had Alabama committed inside linebacker, and North Carolina committed in the D line. So I mean, they had good players. We played them tough. We lost 56-26. Our defense is pretty young. So they're trying to figure some stuff out. A little small as well in the box, but fitting the run pretty well. And we lost to Walton the next week, 41-10. But then we won the last three, kind of in thrillers. We beat Cherokee High School. They were down by 20 twice during the game. We came back and won 49-41.
Oh, wow.
And we beat West Forsyth, who's kind of our token rival school. We beat them 13-0. So we pounded the rock. And then last game, we won 48-43 after being up 42-7 in the first quarter. So
yeah. Your aunt told me about that one.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It was a nutty game. We still ended up rushing for 250 yards and had 533 yards total offense. So it was still a productive day. Okay. But we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit. Kind of not necessarily lost focus, but they made big plays. They had 3 80-yard touchdown passes. They had a pick six, and they took a punt to the house, almost to the house. So it's like, they had a lot of momentum going their way in the second half, and but all in all, I still think we dominated them on offense, which was good. So
okay, let me ask you this: Are you playing both ways?
I'm not playing both ways.
Okay.
We toyed with the idea earlier in the season, but we've never really played big guys both ways. It's not really our program's MO.
Yep.
We'll play skill players both ways. I played both ways as a freshman. I played defensive end and offensive tackle. But as I've kind of gotten older, I didn't play defense at all last year. I played a little bit of nose during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of we're kind of the type of program we want to have guys going one ways in the trenches, and our offensive line, I would say, is probably our most integral unit to success. Right, we played 6 offensive linemen a good bit. With a heavy package, we're a trench-led team. I think everyone kind of knows that we're the most respected group on the team.
Right.
Most experienced. I mean, like we got a lot of guys who have, I have 16 or 17 career starts. Or centers is the same as me. Left guard is about 30 career starts. So we're an experienced group. So they don't really want to toy with that mojo and just kind of, we have 2 senior defensive ends who are solid, and I think, next year we'll be pretty deep on the defense line. Next year we just have a lot of sophomores right now,
okay, and
freshmen. But I think next year will be good. So I don't think they really think it's a pressing need to have me play defense.
Gotcha.
But I mean, you never know. I might be some sort of package where they use me, and if
spot play.
Yeah, and if they ask, I'll be there. I always like playing defense. Defense is always great because you get to go.
Now, are any of your buddies on the recruiting radar?
Yeah, so at our school, I mean, we've turned out some players recently. We turned out a wide out to go to Ohio State a few years ago. Then we turned out a lineman to South Carolina. So we've had some guys come out of Lambert.
Okay.
One of my best friends also plays left guard next to him. He's committed to Navy. He was
nice.
kind of in the all the academies offered him. He was kind of that group of 5 level caliber player.
Yep.
Just a little short arms and short height to be a
right.
power 4 guy.
Right.
And so he's going to Navy, and we got a couple other guys. Like one of our linebackers is a little undersized. He's got like Army offered him, and he's the type of guy who could definitely go play somewhere, even if he's a walk-on type of guy. You could see getting a scholarship because he's just a great player. Then one of our running backs, defensive backs, has about, I believe, close to 20 offers. He a lot of FCS, a lot of the Ivy League schools, academies, and a few group of 5 schools too, like Troy, I know, is one, and Arkansas So some schools in that level have recruited him. And then that's all I can think of top of my head. I mean, we've had other guys who have some smaller offers, some Division III stuff, but those are probably our three other biggest guys other than myself in recruiting right now.
So one of the things I've always thought was so tough as looking from the coach's perspective is how do I gauge what this 18-year-old is looking for when making his determination about where he's going to go, right? And clearly you're going to have a lot of opportunities. I mean, by the end of this, it feels like you're going to be able to go anywhere you want to go. Yep. So have you, obviously you said academically, that's a huge one. What other things are you considering in your choice? Like, is playing time an issue, or are you willing to go somewhere, wait a year or two before you become the starter? Like, how soon you get on the field, does that matter to you? Or something is, I've seen read stories, as I was older and paid more attention, a guy couldn't get a particular number, so he went to a different school. A guy didn't like the color of the uniform, so he goes to a different school. Like, who knows what? So, what things are important to you?
Yeah. So for me, playing time will never really be an issue. For me, as long as I get an opportunity to play at some point, like certain schools, I know, like maybe it's like of my size, some schools want to go for guys who are 330, 340 out of high school.
Yeah.
Those type of schools, I'm like, am I going to get a chance to play? I mean, I think I'll be as good. I think I'll be as good as those dudes. But like, are they going to give me the shot, right? So, that for me, playing time is not the biggest thing. I know I have to make strides when I get to college. Like, I'm not where I need to be in order to play Power 4 football, strength wise and speed wise. I'll get there with work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's going to take time for me. So I'm going to graduate the mid-year. I'll be 17 years old. I'll be 17 and a half when I graduate from high school. So I'll be very young, right? So I'm gonna have to wait some time before I can really like play, because I have to be developed, right, as a man.
Now, is your plan to go be ready for spring ball, or are you gonna wait till the fall?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. So I got my classes like for high school lined up for me to graduate in December of 2025. So I'm class 2026. I'll be class 2025 because I'll be graduating the mid-year after my senior season. Then I'll go do winter, prepare for spring football, and then hopefully get some reps in the spring game or whatnot.
Okay.
And just kind of, because I mean, now that's becoming so popular because you see these guys and they're getting such a head start. And it's not just for football, it's for academics too, right? Like they're starting their classes early. And I'm already going to have a good bit of my college credits knocked out for AP classes. So I'll already be to a point where I have some classes already knocked out.
Right.
Where I can just get ahead and try to get some of my math classes done and my science classes done that don't necessarily have as many credits in. So that's kind of my plan right now.
Okay. Awesome. So what schools? I mean, not in terms of like your choice, but who did you follow growing up? I know. So did you grow up pretty much your whole life in the Atlanta area?
Yeah. So I was born in Newport Beach. Then I moved to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then I moved to New Jersey, and then I moved to Georgia. But I've been in Georgia since I was in first grade. So I've been there I've been in the same area. I've lived in the same neighborhood. I actually moved houses. I moved 4 houses down in the same neighborhood. So I've been in the same neighborhood since I was 6 years old. So but I've never really been a UGA fan. All my buddies are UGA fans. I never really cared about UGA.
Right.
Tech, same thing. Like, all my friends are Tech fans. I just don't. I would say the school I probably was most into would probably be Miami or UCLA.
Okay.
Probably the two teams I would say were always my favorite, just because Miami, I watched the 30 for 30, the U, back when I was like about 9. I just always liked Miami since then. And then UCLA, just I don't know. I was classical. My dad's best player ever coached with UCLA, Robert Chai.
Okay.
So he played center there. So I've always liked UCLA.
So one of my one of those weird things. One of my high school buddies ended up going and playing at Miami, and he was Mario's roommate on that 91 championship team.
Well, did he play offensive line too, or did he play something else?
No, he was a fullback linebacker.
Okay,
And he Mario. I'm not actually, when I say that, I'm not. I think Mario was on that 91 team, but I know at some point.
I'm pretty sure Mario was in 89 and 91.
Okay, yeah. So he was there during that time. He was 2 years behind me, and then he got there, and he got the ring in 91, which he always lets me know about, right?
Oh yeah, he always spawns it. Miami used to play UCLA quite a bit in that stretch, though.
Yeah. So right after I left and got to the NFL, I think we played them in 95 and 96. Yeah, we had a little home and home deal with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and look, both the programs, like now Miami seems like they're well on their way to getting back to the glory days.
100%.
They're starting off pretty hot, but we're entering a new conference. We're in the Big Ten now.
Yep.
Admittedly different style of football.
100%. This is a whole different beast. You got to play against Michigan, but I mean like today they played LSU pretty tough. So
yeah. Look, I watched a lot of their Hawaii game a couple weeks ago. And
I watched a little bit of that too, yeah.
Nothing was coming easy. Like, everything they got, they had to work so hard for. Whereas that same weekend, I watched the Georgia Clemson game.
Yeah.
And things were just opening up, right? And so we just got to get to that point where everything isn't so reliant on
effort.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some things have to come easy at some point. And granted, we're learning the conference. We'll be better a year from now, 2 years from now than we are now, but I think this year might be tough for them a little bit.
Also, USC too, same thing. They got to make Washington. They all got to make adjustments, right?
Yeah.
To handling that Big Ten load, because you got to play tough football. I mean, that's the thing, that Big Ten. Even the schools aren't even the best teams in the Big Ten. They play physical football, like you saw at Illinois last night. I mean, they play tough. Like, it's a different breed.
So, have teams, have schools talked to you about position yet? Like, is left tackle your natural position?
So I've always pretty much I've pretty much always played left tackle.
Okay.
Now, like, when I was in middle school, middle school was weird. Like, they kind of put you to everything.
Yeah.
I was undersized. I was like 160 pounds, but I was really good at pulling. I was kind of my natural. I was really good at pulling and blocking down.
Yeah.
So they always put me at guard in middle school. But ever since, so I started off my freshman year, I started off at right tackle, actually.
Okay.
For whatever reason. I played freshman football with my team. But at the start of the season, I was kind of like the swing tackle.
Okay.
I was very undersized. I was only about 175, 185 pounds. I was small.
Yeah.
And we had the guy who was on my left guard now was playing left tackle as a sophomore. And our right tackle was a senior. He was a big dude. He was by about 290. He was not the best player. So I was kind of the swing tackle. But then over the season, I started playing freshman with my age group, with my team. Then I didn't practice varsity as much. I just got more reps with them and had a good time. We weren't great, but I played every snap on the field. I played offense and defense, so I got better. But by the end of the year, again, I kind of came back to that swing tackle spot. But primarily, I worked out a right tackle.
Okay.
Then we changed offensive line coaches, and then I got moved to left tackle. We moved the Navy commit inside, which he should have been playing inside anyway. He should never have been a tackle, just his body type. And so it was kind of a match made in heaven. We created a really good side. I was about 230 as a sophomore, so but still, as a side, we were very good the last 2 years. But in terms of college position, I think most of the schools I've talked to kind of said the same thing with me. It's like, they say, we see you as an offensive lineman. We don't see you as a left tackle. We don't see you as a center. We don't see you as anything. We see you as a guy who can play every position. And I think that's a very valuable skill.
Hey, the more you can do.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not going to have any film in playing interior in high school. I'll just play tackle, right? They're not going to be inside. But by the time I get to college, I do think, like, I still work on snapping every once in a while, because I'm like, I still got to know how to do it, right? Because I'm smart. I can handle playing center. But I'm sure, in college, I'll probably look at to play both tackle, guard. I think most schools plan on starting me off at tackle. And if I can't, handle the edge rushers or whatever, I'll probably be inside. But But I think all in all, I'll be able to play any position in college.
Yeah. So the way it worked out for me, and look, I never envisioned going to the NFL. Just worked that way, and so each step of the way for me was just like, oh, my coach sat me down. Hey, we think you can get a scholarship, and I actually took an official visit to Virginia. And then I ended up, I wasn't even going to go to UCLA. It was just, I was taking the trip to California. I'd never been to California. I end up there, and luckily I started as a redshirt freshman, and I started at guard. And the last 2 games of the year, we were playing SC, and we were playing Washington, who at the time was number 2 in the country.
Yeah, was
and
that
we
went, when Steve Edmond was there, or no?
Yep, Edmond was there. They were just loaded. They were loaded all over the place. Bunch of LA guys, right?
Yep.
And we go up there, and our right tackle got hurt the previous game, so they said, "Hey, Vaughn, we're going to move you out to tackle." So I go out to tackle. My footwork's terrible, but we end up winning the game. Like we hit a draw play for about 80 yards, if I remember correctly. We ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
And so I finished that year at tackle and never looked back. I just stayed at tackle the rest. And
now, did you start off at left guard or right guard that season?
No, I was at right guard. At right guard, kicked to right tackle. Played the next couple years at right tackle.
Yep.
I made the All Pac-10 first team as a sophomore. Yep. And then I had a coach come in from Ohio State, and he asked me, going into my senior year, hey, do you want to kick over to left tackle? You know, because I was kind of athletic at the time, and I was like, no, I'm comfortable over here. Well, my left tackle was Jonathan Ogden, right? So I don't even know that I could have taken the job from him. As a freshman, he was already all world. But for me, I just always struggled playing left tackle because I played it a couple years in the NFL. But for me, I tell people it's like trying to write with your opposite hand. It's like, you can do it, but it's just not as instinctual. It's not as easy. You got to think about everything. And just I can never time my punch with my footwork, and I was just a mess over there.
It makes sense. I mean, I know some guys can't do it. That was actually probably the best thing about like the middle school situation was I played strong side guard. So basically, I would flip sides, and that was actually beneficial to play in both stances as a young player, right? And like learning how to play in both. And I do feel like, so it's kind of funny. So I always thought when I was younger, I played better at a right-handed stance. I always thought I was more natural. But then I watched film. When I watch myself on film, like I look more natural with my left. Like my feet feel like my steps look better on film. You know what I mean? Like my pass sets look better. And I don't even know why that was in my brain. I'm like, I look better out of the right-handed stance, but I'm like, no, I'm actually playing better at left. And it was always kind of interesting how that ended up happening. I mean, I'm ambidextrous by like nature.
Okay.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Yeah, so that might be part of it. I don't know, but for me, I've always been able to like do things with both hands. Like I played baseball and I hit left-handed and threw right-handed. So like I've always been ambidextrous. Like I don't really necessarily know what that is, but for me, I've always felt natural at both. So
yeah, interesting. All right, well, I don't want to take up so much of your time, and I really have enjoyed talking to you. But I want to, sometime talk to you again because as you get deeper into it, because I really want to talk about maybe at some point like some of the contrasts in the recruiting because. Yeah. Especially back when I was going through it, like there were at that time there were a few less rules, to be quite honest, in terms of how far they could take you off campus, what they could do with you once you took your official visit. And so, when you start going on official visits, those type of things, I want to hear some of the differences and kind of what you've gone through.
Now, when could they start contacting you? Do you know? Do you even know?
I remember. I remember the spring before my so what happened for me was I went to Michigan State's football camp and they actually offered me.
Where'd you go to high school at?
I grew up in Buffalo, New York.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And so I grew up. Oddly enough, like my uncle lived in Michigan, and so I was a huge Michigan fan. I wanted to go play for the Wolverines, and they recruited me initially a little bit. But I had gone to Michigan State's football camp. They had offered me before my senior year. So I kind of was like, hey, I got a chance to go to a pretty good school. And so that was my first official visit. I wanted to commit. My mother said no, take the rest of the visits, and as it turned out, I'm glad I did because and I just love the Big Ten. So it was like if I wasn't going to Michigan, I was going somewhere in the Big Ten. You know, like kind of northeast-ish. You know, and like I said, I never envisioned going to all the way out west, but it ended up being a great decision. I played early, got a lot of I had over 40 starts. Back before because now
now it's pretty,
yeah, college kids play 15
common.
games in a season, right? So
now,
but
you guys, how many guys? You guys played 12 games or 10 games back then?
We played 11 in the regular season, and there was just a bowl game. There was no conference championship, any of that stuff.
I know there was no. It was all votes for who was top, which is crazy. I don't even know how they even did that. Imagine if there was social media back then. It would have been like every decision would have been like, what are these guys doing?
Exactly. One thing oddly that was pretty cool. Like I knew I wanted to just go. The main thing for me, I wanted to go play big time football somewhere, right? And so I was lucky. Like I visited a Big Ten school, a Pac-10 school, an ACC school, and an SEC school, right? I just wanted to play big time football. And at the time, UCLA, they played everybody. It wasn't like they played Nebraska, they played Oklahoma, they played BYU, they played. So I played Michigan while I was there. I played. Who else did we play? I mean, just Tennessee. Right. So that was a big deal for me. And now I know like schools kind of, they stack their schedules and I get it, trying to make it easier path to get to the playoff, that type of thing. But I was just wondering like, what you some of your criteria was. And I know it's still way early for you, right? Like, but it seems like it's been such a long process. I can remember talking to you last year about, all the attention you were getting as a sophomore, right?
I do think that's the biggest difference is nowadays you see kids now whether they're legit offers or not, guys are trying to get offers way earlier. I remember as a freshman, like I have some buddies. I started going to like those small camps, like those Under Armour or whatever camps. I remember it was like they already had 15 offers by the time they're ending their freshman season. I'm like, holy crap, like, this is crazy. And then too, I guess the other thing, like camps. I mean, camps are almost obsolete a lot of times for the big time guys. Like, I think I went to this year. I think I went to 4 or 5 camps, and but I went to the biggest camps. I went to Michigan. I went to Penn State.
Yeah.
Although I already had an offer from Penn State, but I just wanted to, I wanted to see what I can do. I mean, I used to not like camps because nowadays it's all around the one-on-one pass rush.
It drives me crazy when I see those videos on YouTube. And I'm like, you know who doesn't do live pass rush in skins? The NFL. It's illegal. The collective bargaining agreement outlaws it. You can't. And I see it. I'm like, it's such a disadvantage to the offensive lineman because you can't. It's stupid.
And there's these guys who now they teach. That's all they teach. They teach one-on-one pass rush, no pass.
Right.
And
right.
It's become a niche where these gurus are like making money off teaching basically how teaching O-linemen how to hold, like in more effective ways. Like it's nuts. So I really didn't enjoy them early on, but as I got bigger and stronger, I'm like, no, like I have offers for a reason. Nobody's just gonna get up and bull rush me.
Well, yeah, of course, your competitive nature is gonna kick in. Absolutely.
Yeah, but when I first started, like as an 8th grader freshman, I hated them. I didn't want. I got almost anxiety about doing them. I'm going to get some 300-pound kid. I'm going to get killed. Like I'm 190 pounds. Like So it was always.
And it's unrealistic because I see the 2-way goals these kids are taking. It's like you don't think there's another guy right there taking up some space. Like
they go from playing a 5 or a 9 technique and going all the way to the A gap. Like this is just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, and they're bull rushing. There's barely any tape on their wrist. I'm like, come on, this is so ridiculous.
And they're always the guys who run the camps were like, no bull rush. I'm like, okay,
Guess what? The first move they're gonna pull off is a bull rush.
A lot of them they do the speed to power. That's the thing. They always stay with the long arm, and then they just press you and bull rush you. That's kind of what they teach. And the O line is such a disadvantage. And I think really what I care about camps more was getting to the front of the lines, like taking every rep I could during the drills. That's really the stuff the coaches really care about. They want to see how you interact. Like both the camps I was at, I was like with the elite group,
Yep.
I was assigned the elite group, then I was taken to like the higher up. Like there's basically like a process. So, like they'll say they have 160 guys for their camp. They'll have like 5 groups of 30, right?
Okay.
And then from the group of 30, like they'll take the top 7 or 8 guys to do a private workout.
Yep.
And so in all the camps that I went to that they offered a private workout, I was chosen for it.
Okay.
So I went to Georgia, Michigan, and Penn State. So every time and then I was camp MVP at Penn State. So
nice.
But the thing is, the camps, like, I mean, some guys have to go to a bunch of the guys who are being under recruited, but the guys who are big time recruits, they don't go to any camps.
Yeah.
You see them at the camps. They're sitting there watching, and they're juniors who are already committed somewhere. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Well, that's the thing. Kind of once you get on the radar and you kind of establish yourself as that type of player, then it's like guys who go to the combine. It's like, well, yeah, I'm not working out here while I'm here, right?
Yeah. You see, exactly. You see it up there too. Yeah, Caleb Williams. Those guys can do anything at the combine. They just show up.
Yeah.
Like, because they're gonna get drafted first anyway. So like, why do they even need to do a combine?
Yeah.
But it's pretty remarkable. That's what social media does too. I mean, guys get seen on Twitter.
Yep.
That's some of their guys' jobs, and these recruiting staff they see these 13-year-olds who are 6'9" and weigh 360 pounds. They're gonna throw them an offer, right? Like size like that, they kind of got to throw an offer out. Like I remember I was at Georgia, and there was this dude. He couldn't even finish the drill, but they offered him, but he was a freshman. And he was 6'8" and 360 pounds. I'm like, of course they're an offer.
Well, that's the thing, right? They figure, well, we'll get him on our program. We'll get him in shape.
I mean, they have a guy who's a true freshman right now. He was at Walton High School. We played week 2. And Walton's a good program. They got this kid from Walton, and he was like 6'7.5" and 405 pounds, and Georgia got him.
So Ernest Green, the big, I'm pretty sure he's at tackle. He could be at guard, but at Georgia, I was a rookie with his dad on the Chargers, and his dad was 6'7", 6'8", strong as an ox.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like, they showed me a picture of myself with him, and then he grew up to be his own. Like, I don't think he's quite as tall as his dad, but he's at least a legit 6'6", and I think I don't know if he's a junior or senior this year, but he's a high draft pick, I'm sure. And so yes, it's interesting to, I'm always interested to see you young guys as you come through it, and you got all that wonder and all this good stuff coming your way, and so I'm excited for you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's good to hear from an NFL vet that you're excited to see the opportunities. And that's what's cool about football is you be connected to people that played, before you, or after you. You kind of have that understanding of each other, for being an elite
definitely.
Player, so.
Definitely. Okay. Well, good. We'll have a safe drive home, and I'm sure we'll talk again at some point.
Sure.
And
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you're on. Will keep me informed on what's going on with you. And let's talk again sometime.
For sure. Sounds great.
Hey, Vaughn, I have an idea.
Yes.
I think so. We're going to go up and see Dylan play on October 18th. Yep. You should fly into Atlanta, come to the game, and then we can road trip back and go to Buc-ee's.
Okay, so when are you going?
October 18th.
Okay, let me just
look at the calendar really quick.
Yeah, that'll be our I think our 8th game will be that week.
And how many games do you guys have in your regular season?
10. We played 10.
Okay.
Games,
and then does Georgia have a?
The game is on the 18th, so we would probably drive up on the 17th.
Okay, I don't know what's going on, but let me check and see. Yeah, that would be all. Because I was talking to someone recently, telling them a story about I never heard of Buc-ee's, and I was like, I've been in the South enough, I guess, but
Oh, it's
they're like,
everywhere.
yeah.
They got like 30 in Texas.
Yeah, so you could fly into Atlanta. You can come to the game, hang with us for the weekend, then we can road trip back to Tampa and stop.
And hit Buc-ee's on the way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to kind of see you.
Yeah, I know, right?
But you know what? Ashton can just put your picture up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. Stay in touch. Okay. Bye.
Take care.